Hello, everybody, and welcome to our House of League special episode. I say special, we do it every week, but our predictions episode. Josh just said to me before we started recording, have you got a witty intro? The fact that I've already stumbled over this proves that no, I don't. And Josh, when do I ever have a witty intro?
Sometimes.
So we're back as usual. Josh McAllister's here, Matt Shaw's here, I'm James Mills. We're going to look through the 6 games that we've got in Super League this week. In fact, we're not going to look through them, we're going to rattle through them. We're going to try and make it a nice, short, punchy episode for people that have just got 10 minutes to kill while they're making the cup of tea or whatever, and they want to see our handsome faces and these lovely legs on the screen.
It's 25 degrees outside.
Right,
Don't you start.
Hey, I said we're going to make it punchy. Let's get stuck straight into it. Starting this week with a really big game. St Helens at home, Catalan Dragons. Saints need a win. You could probably argue Catalan need a win as well after a difficult couple of weeks. Magic Weekend lost out the Challenge Cup. Where we're going with this, big game for both. I'm going to come to you first, Matt. How do you see it?
I'm back in St Helens this week. A week to fix things up, or an extra week to fix things up. I think Catalans have had a tough schedule. They've had to stay over in England, but they couldn't stay over for this game. So they'll be flying back to France to fly back for a Thursday night game. Short turnaround. Yeah, I'm going Saints. They have to improve. I think it's brave going for Saints with the way they've played recently, but I'm not convinced on Cat. While I know Steve McNamara's comments took the headlines, I do think there were elements of their performance, particularly that second half, where, if I'm honest, there were some really lazy performances in that team, and that's put me off them a little bit, so I'll be going Saints.
Josh?
2 head coaches, and one under quite a lot of pressure and the other one, Steve McNamara, under pressure as well. 2 coaches under pressure. I think I'll join Matt in this one. I think St Helens will do it. I think that extra week to fix things up, and I think St Helens have to win this one. I think they've got Catalans and Huddersfield next week. I think that's two that they need to win to sort of get that sort of fan base almost back on their side.
Yeah, I agree. I think the schedule catches up with Catalan this week. That and the disappointment and the frustration of being knocked out of the cup. But it's a difficult one to call out.
No Elliot Whitehead either. Got banned.
Yes.
So.
Difficult one to call, and it's difficult one to call because they're close to each other in the table. The forms and results have been very similar, which is why they're close to each other in the table. And that's across the board this week. I've had a little look, and with the exception of Hull Cow against Huddersfield Giants, every game, the other 5 games are from teams that are next to each other in the table. So you've got Catalan going to St Helens, that's 6th, hosting 7th. Brings us to our Friday night game, which is the 4th place Leeds Rhinos hosting the 5th place Hull FC. 2 teams very close together and again in the table. Probably the Rhinos will start, well, not probably, the Rhinos will start this one as favourites, Josh being the home side and just above FC. How do you see this one? Both had a little bit of a rest, chance to fix up a few things. FC will have been very disappointed with Magic Weekend. How do you see it going?
Yeah, again, they've had, like most teams have, all but 4, had a week to sort of fix things up and fine-tune things. I think if Leeds go into its favourites, I think I'm going to back the somewhat underdogs and go for an FC win in this one. I think it'll be an entertaining game. I think this will be one to watch. I think they might just have enough, on the day.
You're not going to FC, are you?
No, you know that I've been quite complimentary of Leeds. I've watched a bit of them, and I think they're a good team. I really do think they're going to have a good season. So with that in mind, at home, I think they're gradually getting better as well. And FC have been dipping a little bit. I know they've had the week off, which I think they were one of the teams that needed a week off.
Your man Jake Connor's killing it at the minute.
Who tipped him to win Man of the Steel? I've got a lot of bookmark comments from when I said people were laughing at me for calling that. He's 3 points clear at the top of the table. Yeah, Jake Connor's in fantastic form. I'll be going. He'll be motivated against his former club. So I'll be going Leeds.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with you. I think the home side have got just a little too much right now for FC, but I do think this will be a close one. But yeah, I think Leeds. Takes us to the other game on Friday night. I said they're all next to each other. You got Wigan in 2nd place against 3rd place Lee. I'll take the lead on this one. I don't think I'm going out on a limb here by tipping the host. I just think Lee was so disappointing, and they'll be frustrated by that and disappointed by that. And the fact that you give Wigan 2 weeks to prepare for anybody, I think you're foolish to back against them. You're probably foolish to back against them most weeks anyway. But on a 2-week prep opposed to a team that's just suffered a Challenge Cup loss and the disappointment of that, I can't see anything but a home win here.
Agree. I think, and you don't often beat Wigan twice on the spin. They'll be in the back of the minds that 1-0 loss start of the year. I think I've got Wigan.
Just on that, just to expand a little bit, do you think in that Wigan changing room they want a little bit more than the 2 points this week? Do you think they strike me as a club that, whether it's from Matt P down, they'll be like, they want to make a little bit of a statement after that opening?
Well, it'll be interesting. I get what you're saying, but it'll be interesting. The one criticism I'd have of Wigan so far this season is that they've let teams back into games quite a few times, even at Magic. You know, they were coasting against Warrington.
Even in
Vegas. Hull FC turned it around.
Yeah.
That'd be my one criticism of Wigan. And even, I mean, at Magic, they won narrowly. But even when it were close, it still felt like they were coasting almost. So on that point, it'll be interesting if that was to be the case, if they did put them to the sword, because that would suggest that you're absolutely right.
Shift
Yeah.
Adding on that, I think Matt's right. I don't think we've seen like a full 80 minutes top tier performance from Wigan so far this year. I think there's plenty more to come from them. On lead, they'll be frustrated, deflated. There'll be an emotional toll on it. It's a short turnaround. I think a 5-day turnaround, Sunday to Friday. I think the semi-final will have taken too much out of them to get the win on Friday.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see Lee's response over the next few weeks, because there's no doubt about it, they're a very good rugby league side.
Yeah, they are.
And genuinely, you know, they'll be doing that top 4 shout for the grand final at the end of the season. I expect them to be in that, but there's got to be a response at some point, hasn't there, to that? The outlier in this, they're all next to each other in the table, is that Saturday, the leaders, Hull Kingston Rovers, host the 11th placed Huddersfield Giants. Giants are going to win.
And we're much better. Adam Clune made a big difference to them. They don't have that organiser beyond him. He just helps steer him around the park. Look, I don't think they were excellent against Hull FC, but they were better than being terrible, which they have been for a while. You know, they were okay. Okay is not enough to beat Hull KR at Hull KR.
No.
I
think
you have to be something special.
Good from Hull. Huddersfield Giants is not enough to beat
it's not.
Hull KR, so yeah.
I think that I don't think much needs to be added on that. I think Hull KR win.
Thanks for coming, Josh. Moving on to Sunday, we got double header on Sunday. Starts with 8th place Wakefield against 9th place Warrington. Now, if this was reversed, you'd probably be more inclined to back Wakefield. However, Warrington again. Wakefield have had an extra week to prepare for this game. Warrington will be buoyed by reaching a Challenge Cup final, so they won't feel the aches and pains as much. I don't know how to read this one.
I don't.
No, that's fair points. Dow Powell against his former club, be highly motivated, be motivating his Wakefield side. Warrington, who pretty much dominated Lee on Sunday at the Totally Wicked Stadium to cement their spot at Wembley. It is interesting to see how much that'll take out of them. Obviously, it's a positive, but it might have taken something out of them. That is a tough one to call. I think I'll go with Sam Burgess' side though.
I watched Warrington Wakefield. I saw Wakefield beat Warrington at Warrington a couple of months ago now, probably, and Wakefield were excellent. Beat them up through the middle, but if I'm not wrong, they've lost quite a few players. Kai Rodwell is injured, as we know.
Most of the pack's out at the minute, isn't
Caleb
it?
Hamlin ULA, who I think's probably the most under the radar prop in the comp, has had an injury, didn't play at Magic. So that just plants a seed of doubt in my mind whether they could do that again. They've not been as good at home as we know. So yeah, I'm surprisingly in my own mind, but I'm edging towards a Warrington.
Yeah.
But then I just wonder, is all their focus going to be on Wembley?
Yeah, because I'd be interested to see if
it's
he plays
still a way
Mark
out
Sneed.
of Wembley, though, isn't it? We're still
3 or 4 weeks.
3 or 4 weeks away.
I'd be interested to see if he plays Mark Sneed, because obviously he had
Sneed
this.
will play.
Well, he had this return, didn't he, in mind? I wonder if you just give him a week off now. Just he's done his job in cementing Wembley.
Yeah, I think he'll play. I think Warrington are going to want to build some momentum now.
Yeah.
Building towards the cup final.
I've got a nagging voice in my head to say go Warrington.
Right,
So.
I agree. So I think that's Clip it up, Wakefield media team. These 3 people all going for Warrington. The last game of the round, Castleford in 10th place against Salford in 12th. Castleford with Chris Chester.
Not coaching him though.
No, just let me go somewhere. We didn't mention it on the main pod. Chris Chester going back to the club. Just a quick word on that now.
Great piece of business for Cass to get a director of rugby who's proven he can sign obscure players. Let's be right, Lee weren't an attractive club to sign for when he joined. They were in the Championship. He managed to get players like Tom Amone and Kai O'Donnell playing from in the Championship, which now just
even
looks
Blake Ferguson.
Absolutely ridiculous. Similar job in many ways at Cass. Not an attractive club to a lot of players. When I say that, there's other clubs that you'd rather sign for, just where they are on the table and all those things. That narrative has been well done. So they have to recruit smart. They've got a very smart recruiter who's obviously well connected. Really, really smart business from Castleford.
As you said, though, we aren't going back in time 20 years. He's not running out at loose forward.
No, he was a good player, People forget that. He was a good player.
Well, so Cass against Salford, how do you see this one?
It's the same every week, isn't it, when the Red Devils are involved, unfortunately. Obviously, Hull KR blew them away at Magic Weekend, and it's just hard to ever predict them or tip them until things are sorted, which we talked about in the main podcast. It's just hard to ever tip them, isn't it? So it's going to have to be Tigers.
The safe option is to go for Cass, but they were in Danny Maguire's words, rubbish.
Yeah.
At Magic, and they were rubbish.
That's been kind.
But Salford almost got more credit because it was such an admirable performance in terms of work rate and spirit and all that. But they're just miles off out there in terms of quality, and there's still some good players in there. But I think. I don't think I could ever tip Castleford completely confident, but I'll go with Cass.
Yeah, I'm going to go Cass too. We were all agreeing a lot this week.
Yeah, just the
surprised
one.
we all agreed on
FC.
Warrington. I'm surprised that I tipped Warrington, to be honest.
I'm scared that I tipped
them.
Warrington. I spoke to the media lads at Wakefield, listeners of the show, so I'm scared that all 3 of us have done that.
Is there anyone in Rugby League who doesn't listen to this show? There has to be, because I tell you, if everyone listened to this who claimed to do, we'd be like top of YouTube charts. Someone's lying to us.
I know we've quick one. Literally,
we'd be able to afford decent trousers for you guys, so you don't have to rock up looking
full
like
length. We've managed to afford.
I was
full
sat
length.
in my clubhouse in Burtonwood, and your name was popped up. I was just sat next to a spectator, and he said, Matt Shaw said in the transfer show, and then I didn't hear the rest, and I thought, there's another listener. So just to boost your ego a little bit more.
At least it wasn't Matt Shaw is a expletive.
That might have followed after,
There was plenty of them conversations being had at the weekend, and there'll be plenty more happening this week as well. But we said we'd keep it short and sweet and we'd rattle through them, and we have done just that. So thanks for being with us, and we'll catch you very soon.